All right, all right. Charlie Burris, former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton, Tennessee Volunteers in the college football playoff against Ohio State. Not the finest half of football the Volunteers have ever played, that is for sure. It's 21-10 Tennessee Trails in Columbus. This is the big A to Z Sports Big Orange Halftime Reaction Show brought to you by the good folks at Zen Sports. A little bit more on that in a second. I won't lie to you, Crump. Tennessee got down 21-0, and this one's over. Like, I just had that feeling immediately, just like, really, we came all this way, freaking 40,000 fans in the stands in Columbus, and you're going to put up this, just plant the biggest egg right there on the field. Played with a little pride to close the half, so that's good. How are you feeling at the moment?
None of that at all surprises me in one bit. Like, in the least bit, I'm not surprised whatsoever that Charlie Burris was a pessimist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But here's the thing. I say that being funny. Like, I completely understand what you're saying. It took us until 9 minutes left in the second to complete a pass, like actually to complete a pass. Yeah. It was like 9:28 or something left in the quarter. In the first quarter, we had 13 plays, 16 total yards, and they had 196 yards or 205 yards or something. So I understand what you're saying. I get it. We started horrifically slow. My personal opinion, this is just my opinion. Who cares about the weather? Go play football, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to go out there. I understand there's always going to be somebody, but Notre Dame kind of did the same thing last night, where half the team goes out there shirtless to prove a point. Just go play, just go warm up and just go freaking play. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And I think I could be wrong, but I think a lot of that had to do with how bad we started off. It was so much emphasis on the weather. Well, the emphasis on, and don't get me wrong, it's cool as hell to say that we've got 40% of a 100,000 person stadium as Tennessee fans. I think that's awesome to say. But once again, when the ball's kicked off, none of that matters. Go play. We played like absolute dog bleep. Outside, I'll take that back. The first drive was phenomenal until the first three plays, until we get the face mask. We don't get the face mask. It's a totally different first 2-3 drives.
Yeah.
But you can't extend a drive for them. And then we can't help them with stupid penalties or stupid sacks or a drop ball or or our tackles getting beat and letting them bat a pass down that's behind the line. They should never. A DN should never bat the ball down on a ball thrown behind the line. Those things is what was frustrating as hell, just to be honest with you. But what I did like to see, and I would think you would agree with me on this, Charlie. I think the intestinal fortitude of this team to go. Dylan Sampson's on the sideline looking a little gimpy.
Yeah.
Bishop comes in, doesn't get many carries, but sticks his nose in the run game. Right? Nico running the ball. Nico cracking his helmet on the third play of the game and still running the ball. Hey, on the roughing the passer. I'm going to take it because I'm a Tennessee fan, but he was kind of getting hit. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to take it. But his head bouncing off the turf, him getting up, nobody quitting. That's what I like to see at the end. And we get the ball.
It's something about Nico taking a giant hit that just seems to center him for some reason. Happened against Alabama. And right there, I mean, he was a completely new dude.
Josh Allen is that way. Josh Allen has even said,
"That's true.
I have to get into the game by getting my bell rung." There's been a lot of guys that way. You just look at his frame and you go, he doesn't seem to be that way. But I think you're spot on with that because he's gotten rocked a couple times and now he's settled in.
And that drive at the end of the half to get you to 10 points instead of just 3, that was one of the finest drives of the season. Because as you were saying,
76 yards. I mean,
that's art. as far like from Nico, they're gutting that out without Sampson to help, and they're just running speed option basically on every play. I loved the design runs. I was telling you before we got on here, I was like, man, if they would have run Nico more like that earlier in the year, you don't lose to Arkansas at the very least. I mean, that was a special drive that unfolded there at the end of that half. Now you're doing it out of the situation that you've been handed here with Sampson on the sidelines. And
Yes.
It's a bit of necessity. You don't want to put your quarterback constantly in harm's way that way. But in this spot, it's if you lose, it's the final game of the season.
Well, yeah, at this point,
you got to lay it out there.
At this point, you
got to put it out there.
It's literally win or go home. Earlier in the year, I can argue one or the other, but now it's literally win or go home. He's carried the ball 13 times already. Hell, that's got to be a career high for him. Honestly,
for sure.
But yeah. I was very disappointed in our defense early on. Or go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, you at the beginning of the game lost the opportunity to punch them in the mouth because of the face mask penalty, and then you just turned right around from there and blew it sky high 3 drives in a row. But now, 21-10, you get the ball coming out of the half. You'll have an opportunity here to make this crowd super uncomfortable, to make them go, oh, boy, we got up 21-0, and suddenly it's 21-17. What are we doing? Excuse me, Ryan Day. Wake up, somebody. There's all these Tennessee fans in here. They're getting loud. I mean, on that opening drive when it was all at a fever pitch, it sounded like an away game. When Ohio State was on offense. That's crazy. At worst, it sounded like a bowl game where it's kind of like split in half.
Yeah.
Fan-wise. It's impressive, the turnout that Tennessee has in that place right now. And you have a shot here to, I always say this, for lack of a better term, get Ryan Day in the lemon booty spot here where he seizes up, where he's just,
you got to get Ryan Day in the Ryan Day. You got to get Ryan Day to Ryan Day things.
Yeah, you gotta get him to do what he does, especially just against Michigan specifically.
Yeah.
I think you really give yourself a shot here.
He's not thinking about this in this moment, but before the game, guys, he's human. He's just like anybody else. He's 40. He's 43 and 43 and 3 against everybody else other than the SEC, Michigan, and in the playoffs. And then he's 0 and 5.
Only everything that matters. Only just
you see what I'm saying? It's one of those. It's like, okay, let Ryan Day this thing. Just inch your way back into the ball game. Just inch your way back into the ball game. Honestly, where we get the ball. All right. Now defensively, this is what I would do, and I said this once the bracket was set, and I've said this on our show. The matchup to watch was who did we put on Egbuka? Smith is their best receiver as a freshman. All right. Here's what I'm assuming most people in here will understand what I'm talking about when I use a basketball term, box in one. All right. Meaning I take my best defender and I take your best offensive player and it's man up. Everybody else is in zone. I'm taking McCoy and I'm taking Carter and I'm going, you two got number 4 and number 2 and everybody else is going to play zone. Match those two up man-to-man, regardless of where if they're in the backfield, you're playing linebacker. If they're out wide at number 1 receiver, you're playing corner. If they're in the slot, you're playing nickel linebacker. And everybody else plays zone because old buddy can't read zone. He's proven that. He can throw a great man-to-man ball. But he has not read zone one time tonight. So to me, you take our 2 best DBs and you say your 2 best receivers are now manned up all night. Everybody else is in zone. So now not everybody can get picked when they run mesh pick routes.
I would love to see it. And you do at some point, and maybe it's a wearing them down type of thing. It got talked about a lot coming into this game that Ohio State's offensive line is banged up. Starting center is out, left tackle, guards, they're rotating. It's a whole thing, a narrative coming in. And the fact is this: if you can, you have to get pressure with just 4 guys. That has to happen at some point. That has to happen for you to win this game. It's period, because
Yes.
the guy is sitting back there all day, and almost any quarterback that's worth a single damn is going to be able to do something against you if they're given all day to think
Yeah.
and process.
Well,
And so
Ben
something has
Holmes
to give there.
Ben asked me if I'm saying bracket Smith and single coverage Ibuka. No, I'm saying both of those are getting played man to man, and everybody else is playing zone. So it's literally like a box and one defense in basketball. You have help over the top because you play two high safeties, but you play like Texas's safety, Taft, and he is now the downhill run player for the run game. It's just straight up cover four with two guys in man. It is a very simple defense. A lot of teams run it when you have a stud wide receiver. If we do something on that level of adjustment at halftime, then they're going to have a hard time to beat us defensively. Now, we obviously got to play our game offensively to get back in the game. We have to go down and score. It doesn't have to be 7, but we got to get points on this drive.
I really wonder what if you can gut out a touchdown out of the half here. I mean, that's imperative to absolutely everything here is coming out strong to start this half. If you can gut out a touchdown there, I really wonder what Chip Kelly calls on that ensuing drive, on the answering drive there, because it's not like you're going to go out and just freewheeling air it out like you kind of were to start the game and just airing it up there. I mean, suddenly, your boy threw an interception, and it's not going to be that easy all day long, even though Tennessee's secondary is in certain instances pretty clearly outmanned.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that easy.
Well,
I wonder what they would go with there.
Well, this comment just said, if they do what I said, they'll eat us up with crossing routes because we can't cover them. That's actually the farthest from the truth, because playing zone, you have linebackers dropping to the flats in the hook zones, where crossing routes go to. But you undercut them in man-to-man on purpose so they can't just run free curl routes and free out routes and go routes. So it's an automatic match defense with manning up your two best receivers to take away. His first instinct is to throw it up to one of those two guys. Now you take away what's called a slice route, where Mbuka's got like 4 of those tonight, and it's a little play action, run across the formation, catch it 1 yard behind line of scrimmage and run. You take those away because you're in man-to-man. You take away the mesh concepts because you're in zone, but you're not in zone. That's why you do it. It's a deceptive defense.
We'll see what they do, because if you can, as I've already been saying, if you can come out, make it 21-17 early in the third quarter, you got them feeling really uncomfortable all of a sudden, and you have that huge presence in the stadium that makes it sound like an away game when they're on offense. And I just have to think that Ryan Day is going to be sitting over on the sideline going, "Oh, my job's on the line in this, in this 30 minutes right here. Like, this fan base is going to tar and feather me if I do not win this game." And suddenly it's as high pressure of a spot as you can make it, and Tennessee's, banging down their door.
Well, we got to start fast. We can't do what we did in the first quarter. If we go down and get points and make it a 1-score ball game, meaning a touchdown or a field goal, still 1-score ball game, get a stop, anything can happen. In case you're wondering, the largest comeback in CFP history, 17. We 21. We make that, he may be fired tomorrow, but we can't think of it that way. It's just the reality of we got to inch and fight and claw our way back into this, which we have so far. Now we just have to continue to do it.
It's not going to be easy to do, even though I think you have put yourself in a spot to potentially be able to come back here. Now, with that said, let's talk about who in this second half would you bet on to be the guy to break this game for Tennessee? Who could actually carry Tennessee there to a victory over Ohio State, even though you're down by 11 at halftime? And as it has been all season long, this segment is brought to you by the great folks at Zen Sports. So think about it, Crump, while I'm telling everybody about Zen Sports. Who would you bet on in this second half? And let's talk about Zen. Zen Sports just picked the grand prize winner for the November Big Game Sweepstakes, and they're running it back in December with the Big Game Sweepstakes College Edition. This time, Instead of going to the big game for the pros, they're giving you a chance to go to the very first big game in the new college football tournament with a grand prize of $10,000 cash and 2 tickets to the biggest college football game of 2025. You know, the one in Atlanta. And the ability to earn entries on every single bet you place in December. It doesn't get much better than this. And if you don't win the grand prize, don't worry. You'll also have a shot at 10 smaller prizes, which grant you $1,000 towards any college playoff game in 2025. What are you waiting for? Head to zensports.com/sweepstakes for the full list of rules and also earn that $100 no danger wager that we have been telling you about all season long. Zen Sports betting just got better. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. No danger wager. No danger. First wager limited to plus 500 odds. Qualified terms and conditions apply. Qualifying wager for a wager entry must have minimum odds for any leg of at least minus 250. American odds for clarity, minus 251 does not qualify. Head to zensports.com/sweepstakes for contest. Terms and conditions must be 21 or older in Tennessee to bet. Just kept getting wordier. All right. Crump, who would you bet on if you were going to pick anybody here who could send Tennessee to the second round of the college football playoff? Who's it going to be for the Vols in this second round?
Probably somebody that people wouldn't expect me to pick. I'm going Jermon McCoy. I think he needs to make a play in the secondary for us. They're obviously, let's see right here. You ready? They are obviously willing to throw the football. They threw the ball 21 times in the first half. They're 17 of 21 for 220. A touchdown and a pick. I think McCoy makes a big play and gets us the ball back, in a big moment. If we can get that and really flip the momentum. And honestly, bottom line is we got to stop them. So that's I got to go somebody on defense. I was really wanting to go just full blown D line because if we can do D line and get pressure with just if we can do a 4-man rush and get pressure, that makes it a lot easier on our back end. But yeah, I'm gonna go McCoy, hoping that he can get us a big play, a big turnover sometime early in this third.
It seems too obvious, but I gotta go Nico. I mean, I definitely agree with everything you just said, but Nico here with what you saw there, just toughing it out with these designed runs that suddenly they're calling because Dylan Sampson is banged up, and I don't care if it's Jermon McCoy, I don't care if it's Nico. Thornton, Dylan Sampson, if he's able to come back in the game and explosive play. Yes. Somebody. Is it a pick six on defense? Is it a massive over-the-top bomb with Dante Thornton? I don't know, but something like that where you don't just score, because that grinding drive at the end of the half was great and a nice little momentum builder. But if you could hit an explosive play where all Tennessee fans in that stadium can explode and really be loud and have the place go crazy. I mean, a pick six would be the ultimate one right now, especially if you score a touchdown out of the half and then get Will Howard to throw a pick six. This game might be over at that point. Like, you would have them shaking in their boots.
Even if it's not a pick six, a sack fumble, some sort of turnover. We need to, like I said, we just got to get points. Obviously, ideal is a touchdown. If we just go down and at least get a field goal and get into a one-score game, then we need a quick, ideally 3-and-out. But even if it's not a 3-and-out, we need something to keep the ball, even if it's a pick, a fumble, a turnover, or a punt, where they're not punting from the 50, though, where they can't pin us deep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because that right there, that is momentum. And if we get the momentum on our side early in this third, the script could really start flipping. We just can't play like we did to start the game.
Yeah, and what I really hated about the start of that game is that they looked nervous. And the thing that kills me, like, why would you be nervous in the spot? You're 7-point underdog. Nobody thinks you're winning this game. Literally, college game day, every single person picked Ohio State. Even the Michigan guy picked Ohio State. And every single bit of this is against you. Your back is now up against the wall. Just play like you got nothing to lose, because you don't. Like, just go out there and take this thing by the horns.
Let it loose, because the best part is we have, this year at least, historically been a second half team.
Yep. No better time than now.
We just got to go play. The only thing that I'm going to say against it is I have said this year, even after Ohio State lost to Oregon. If Ohio State plays a complete game, they are hard to freaking beat.
Yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
we have to play flawless in the second half because we have put ourselves behind the 8 ball. So we have to play flawless and get a couple breaks. It's just what it is. The team that makes the fewest mistakes will win. Take the fight and keep it there for 60 minutes. It's that simple. We've only played 30.
Go and do it.
So
I'm
it's
telling
that
you,
simple.
get these guys in a tight spot, and Ryan Day is going to
Yep.
crumple like a cheap suit. Come on, baby. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. The opportunity is there. We'll see what happens. Win, lose, draw, snow, rain, sleet. It doesn't matter. We're going to be here in the post game talking about what happens. I'm Charlie Burris. That's former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton. Thank you for tuning in, and come right back here where you are watching this in the post game and hang out with us. And we will talk to y'all in just a minute.